So one of the things that we teach you guys to do is to utilize a process for going on a listing appointment, which is Gary's 5-step listing appointment. The first of those steps is to do an initial consultation. So that's where you get on the phone and you do all the digging. You know, you can ask all that stuff on the phone, but what you're really trying to understand is, what are their concerns? What's their motivation? What are they hoping that's going to happen as an outcome? And really, if you guys, I'll give you a little phrase that Gary likes to use. The magic phrase is, tell me more about that, right? And so once you get people starting to talk about what's important to them, and then you ask them to tell you more about it, you know, you talked about they need to be the hero of their own story. And the more that they're communicating what they are concerned about, the more that they're communicating what they want us to do for them, we're empowering them to be that hero, and now we get to serve them, if that makes sense. So that when we go on an appointment, we already have an advantage because we've had a phone call, right? We've done a little bit of homework. Now we can really work to activate and build that trust when we sit down with them at the listing appointment. And I'm assuming when you refer to interview, you're referring to the sit down with them and have that conversation. So what and for those of you who are relatively new to the Paperless Agent, if you go to the resources and look for, just search for Gary's initial consultation, and there's an actual template that we utilize to be able to ask the questions so that when you show up, you're already miles ahead of everybody else, because now you know what they're concerned about and what they're hoping to accomplish, so that when you show up, because you've already done the discovery process, you can now really focus on building that trust and really emphasize your character and your competence, which I'm going to circle back to after we wrap some more up here.
Helen just asked a really good question. Helen, Helen asks, examples of most important interview questions, please. Helen, I'm going to mess with your world right now, okay? You asked the question, you stuck your head out there, so I'm going to mess with you. Here it is. You ready? Let them tell you. Let them tell you what the most important question that you should be asking is. The danger, and I love what Chris just said, because it's tell me more about this, right? The magic is in the follow-up questions, right? A lot of times we come in, and usually it's the men. Right? Men are so task and goal oriented that we go in and it's like, oh my gosh, I just went on this presentation. Greg said I should have 75 questions. So question number 1, and they start telling you something important. Like you hear something there, you're like, dang. And what do we do instead? We're like, okay, cool. Question number 2. And they're like, dude, I was just about to bare my soul to you. I was just about to tell you like why you're here. And instead we moved on. So Helen, they will tell you. And yes, that means that active listening skills, which we don't do, especially in an interview. We're nervous. We're about to ask them for a lot of money, right? And we're like, hey, I should just ask all these questions. No, man. The active listening skills is where Richard Schell, who's a professor at Wharton University, at one point, also on our book list, in his book called Bargaining for Advantage, says that a skilled negotiator does not just listen. Although they do, but they also summarize and test for understanding. Why? Because that truly makes the other side feel like they were heard. And here's a number. I hope this number rattles your cages, guys. According to Shell, the advanced skilled negotiators spend as much as 39% of their total time in a negotiation asking questions, summarizing, and testing for understanding.